Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of my Megapark. In the last episode I made this log flume dark ride combination. I asked you all to come up with a cool name for it, and actually the name that I liked most was I think it was called Pharaoh, Fall of the Pharaoh, something like that. Let's call it Pharaoh's Fall. So yeah, it's the name I like most, so that's what I will go with here. Um, thanks for everyone who came up with suggestions for the name of this ride. All right, it's been a while since I made a big coaster in this map, so for this episode, I once again want to make a really big one. And for this episode, I want to go with a ride that most people don't use, but the hypercoaster. This coaster is based on big hypercoasters like the ones that Arrow and Morgan used to make. And for this episode, I want to go with a hypercoaster from Morgan. Now, Morgan is a company that made rides like Steel Dragon 2000, Steel Eel, Steel Force probably. You get the kind of names these coasters have. What these coasters all have in common is, first off, they look nothing like this model. I think this one's pretty terrible. What these coasters all have in common is that, they're huge, so they have a huge lift hill. For example, we could start a station somewhere around here. I'm not sure where I'm gonna place it yet, but then probably we could have a turnaround, big lift hill, then 2 or 3 big drops. Then usually there's a spirally section which it goes through at high speed. Then usually there's a brake section, and after that there's just a big succession of bunny hops back into the station. So yeah, that's typically what these Morgan coasters in real life look like, and that should not be too difficult to recreate in Open Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Actually, I've made a few of these in other parks, and I kind of like making them. So, I think I'll move these rides around a little bit just to get some more space here for the station, and then we can start building. Alright, I've moved these I've moved these rides around a bit. That should give me some extra space to work on the coaster. I think I want the station somewhere around here, and that should give me enough space to work with. Now, I've made a set of block breaks here. It will kind of ruin the momentum of the ride, but most real uh, Morgan hypercoasters have one of these block break sections somewhere in the ride. So yeah, I'm doing it somewhere over here. So the coaster already has done quite a few big drops, and after this, I think I will just give it a curved drop down, and then just go into a succession of bunny hops until we get back to the station. One thing you should always be careful with is the length of your brake sections. For example, we have a block brake here, and the coaster was stopped fully on this brake track, and that's what we want. Just a little bit earlier, the curve was a bit more to this side, and the last train would be waiting here at an angle. It's usually something you'll want to avoid. I always try to make my brake sections long enough so that the entire train fits on it. I sometimes see people with the brake section where half of the train is still in an inversion or something. That's probably something you'll want to avoid. Now I'll make the lift hill change speed a bit higher, because it takes ages for the train to get up there. Something you should take into account when making the lift hill speed higher is that the reliability of the coaster will actually drop faster. So the coaster will become unreliable more quickly. But for this park it doesn't matter, because I play with cheats here anyway. Anyway, you could see the momentum ruining brake run, and here's the bunny hill section. I think the speed of the coaster is nice. So here's some big hills. We're actually building the coaster on ground level here, but I will lower the floor there a bit. Maybe put some tunnels. Just because I don't like when the coaster is really underground and you don't see any supports anymore. Alright, you can see it go through the bunny hill section here. Probably providing some nice airtime for the riders. And here's the last hill. And then into the brake section. Now the coaster is quite big. The layout is quite boring. But yeah, these Morgan coasters are all about maximizing the speed. And they usually have huge trains, so they always have a really high capacity. Stats are not yet available, but they should be okay, because I didn't really do anything crazy, and the stats are all really within a good range of what they should be. Alright, I will now decide on a color scheme for the coaster. I will do some last landscaping modifications, make a tunnel or two, make a station, and yeah, that should be it for this ride. Maybe also a transfer track. Okay, for this coaster, I actually thought of a cool name for it, just to be in line with most of the other Morgan coaster names. I will call it Steel Serpent. That's probably a good name for this ride. Now, one thing that's also very characteristic of these rides is the big supports under the lift hill. So yeah, well, most steel coasters just have pillars supporting it. These Morgan hypercoasters typically have really a lattice structure supporting them under the lift hill. Usually it's pairs of two, and maybe I'll play a bit with some sloped wooden fence pieces. But yeah, I'll try to make this into something nice. Alright, now these bigger supports, they're typically only done for the higher parts of the coaster, and the rest of the coaster are simply done with pillars. I might play a bit with some of these poles, but yeah, I'll see how far I go with it. Okay, here we can see a zoomed out look of the ride. I have to say I really like the way it looks here. Together with the Woody over here, I think it forms a nice combo here in the edge of the park. Now I will probably make a few paths right under this coaster, and I'll create something on the beach here later. I'm not sure what, but I'll think of something good. Alright, I think something else the ride still needs is a few tunnels. You will often find those on coasters like this one. Okay, I've done some landscaping here, put some fences around the coaster. I also made some paths, and I don't know if I'll keep them this straight in the end. I probably might curve them around a bit more, just like this path. But yeah, I'll see about that later. I also made a little entrance to the beach here. I might make some invisible paths here, just so guests can also walk on the beach over here. Maybe I'll make some shops. Yeah, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make on the beach, but for sure I think I will make this little entrance look a little better in a later episode. Okay, for now I want to focus on the station of the coaster, and I want to make a transfer track. Okay, I think that's enough building for now. Yeah, I struggled quite a bit with the station, but in the end I made something I'm quite happy with. It's quite a basic station, but I did add some flying saucer track just to serve as the queue path. I think it works quite well. Of course, I will still have to decorate the area, but that will be something I'll do in a later episode. So yeah, I really like how this area became. I think this coaster fits nicely here on the edge of the park. I think it looks really nice in combination with this woody, which also stretches for a long way. So yeah, I also made a little tunnel here for the first drop and this later drop over here. Of course, this also still has to be decorated. Made some extra supports here under this hill and under this high hill. And over here I just kept the default supports. Here I made some fences around the coaster, and I'll probably extend the fences over here and make some invisible paths on the beach later. Whereas this area on the inside, I'll probably also put some plants, some trees here. Alright, that was enough building for this episode. For the rest of the episode, I will just follow this coaster train. See you later.